Today, we explore the theory that the Anunnaki ancient aliens played a role in human creation and history. Could they hold the key to the biggest secret in human history? Why do schools teach so little about the world's first advanced civilization? It's incredible how much we still use today that was introduced by ancient civilizations. They were responsible for many inventions, including the lunar-based calendar, geometry, and time-counting systems, the wheel, the plow, and irrigation systems, like canals and levees. They also created sailboats and spoke the first known language. Perhaps most importantly, they left evidence of the first recorded writing. That's a lot of intelligent contributions to humanity. So, why aren't we talking more about this advanced and influential civilization? Well, you can connect the dots, and you'll find out why the omission could be deliberate. These enigmatic beings are often mentioned in ancient texts, sparking curiosity and debate. If you like the video, please subscribe to my channel. Your support means a lot and encourages me to produce more unique content for you. The Anunnaki are an ancient Mesopotamian deity group believed to have played a role in human creation. Their enigmatic nature has led to speculation and unanswered questions, making them a fascinating subject for study. According to ancient Sumerian mythology, humans were created by gods who mixed their DNA with Earth's creatures. Could there be hidden truths in these ancient myths? Or is it simply a symbolic way of explaining our origins? Proponents of the Anunnaki theory argue that these beings shared advanced knowledge and technology with early human civilizations. Many believe that ancient structures and artifacts are evidence of extraterrestrial influence. The Anunnaki theory suggests that these beings helped humans construct massive pyramids and create mysterious astronomical alignments. Interpreting ancient symbols and art can be a complex endeavor. What some see as evidence of extraterrestrial visitation, others interpret as mythological or religious symbolism. The Anunnaki theory draws heavily from ancient texts, including the Sumerian Enigmatic and the Babylonian epic of Gilgamesh. These texts contain stories of gods and beings descending from the heavens. Why is the mystery around Sumeria, which was in Mesopotamia, now modern-day Iraq? Sumerians created many advanced systems accurately, yet we dismiss their history of man as mere mythology. We'd be teaching an entirely different version of our origins, and we'd be thinking much more about our future. So let archaeologists continue to debate the history and evolution of man. In 1849, British archaeologists discovered 14 tablets in Sumeria. Today, these are the oldest known writings, dating back to the 24th century BC. While the stories on them share much of what other ancient writings say, they put a whole new spin on the other ancient sacred texts you see. While they do refer to a father of all beginnings, or some ultimate supreme being, the tablets say that the creators in Genesis, the Garden of Eden, Adam and Eve, these were polytheistic gods of ours, overworldly beings, or just plain out, they were aliens. The first two tablets explain who they were and where they were from. The third tablet tells of Earth's 6 days of creation or settlement. Later, they explain how these beings genetically manipulated the human race and did not evolve randomly. Even the technology Sumerians gave us came from these beings. Would you be interested now in knowing more about what the Sumerians had to say about our history? Here are selected legends from the 14 tablets and their parallels with other ancient sources. According to the Sumerian tablet, thousands of years ago, creator gods, as they call it, came to Earth. The only inhabitants of Earth were wild and undomesticated animals and early ancestors of man. These beings were called the Anunnaki, which means those who from heaven to Earth came. They habited a distant orbiting planet called Nibiru, which only entered our solar system every 3,600 years. They described Nibiru as many times the diameter of Earth and abundant with iron oxide, making its rivers and lakes appear red. Now, a side note about Nibiru: according to the tablets, Nibiru's atmosphere began to rust and become a hostile place for life. To restore it, the Sumerian deities needed one crucial element for their atmosphere: gold. Here are a few exciting facts. There is proof that gold nanoparticles can be used to repair our damaged ozone. It shields radiation, which explains why NASA uses gold foils in their space stations, while NASA is currently aware of 8 official planets in our solar system. There's been much speculation about the wobbly orbit of two planets, which points to the likely gravitational pull of a vast mass, which has yet to be discovered. Now, the detection of this mass traces back decades. In October 2017, NASA published an article titled "The Super Earth That Came Home for Dinner," which stated that there were 5 different lines of observational evidence pointing to the existence of Planet 9. The article also added that removing the explanation for Planet 9's existence would create more problems than it would solve. Potential for another planet is yet to be discovered in our solar system. Now, the Sumerian god of the sky, when they arrived, they could live a span hundreds of thousands of years. They created a mining settlement they called Eridug Earth Station, one in the Persian Gulf, under a leader named Enki. The tablets convey, after the kingship descended from heaven, it was an Eridug. These visitors were not alone. They brought another extraterrestrial race with them. They were called the Igigi, and they worked as their slaves. The Igigi were considered inferior. They served the Anunnaki by mining gold. As civilizations evolve, the Igigi underwent crushing labor, similar to what's described on 8th century BC Babylonian tablets. The gods' load was great, and the toil was excessive. The Igigi rebelled against the Anunnaki who had enslaved them, resulting in their almost complete annihilation and leaving the Anunnaki without a workforce. Unable to replace the Igigi, Nibiru's ruler Anu ordered his son Enkidu to engineer a new slave race genetically, one that was intelligent enough to perform complex work but still subservient. His experiments are recounted in detail in Atrahasis, and many unique creatures were created. Enki finally successfully met his goal, and the result, a genetic hybrid between Earth's cavemen, Homo erectus, and the Anunnaki themselves. This hybrid we call Homo Sapiens. The tablets called the first man the Adamu. In Hebrew, Adam means man. The Anunnaki put the Homo Sapiens to work in the mines and elsewhere in Mesopotamia. The Semitic word avoid or worship literally means work for. Hence, early man had no choice but to worship their gods. According to the pictographs and texts, these Anunnaki, who we know lived many centuries, were giants compared to the Homo sapiens. Now, because their primary purpose in life was to serve the Anunnaki, Homo sapiens were, in return, educated in social skills, academic affairs, and technology. All this is abundantly clear in the tablet. The new human enslaved people were sterile, but as the demand for a workforce increased, they were re-engineered so that they could reproduce. Overpopulation became a problem, and as a result, many people were exiled from their secure cities, leading to the creation of the Garden of Eden story and the belief that being banished from paradise was a punishment for having children. As humans developed greater intelligence, some leaders interbred with them. The children who resulted from these forbidden unions between races were called the Nephilim, or the giants of old. The tablets say that these practices enraged Enlil, the Anunnaki leader of that time, who was Enki's brother. Enlil wanted to ensure no human would ever rise to power and potentially rule Nibiru. Naturally, the interbreeding increased that risk, but it was beyond his control. Human populations increased over the following millennia, only to be met with a population control plan that nature had in store. During one of its 3,600-year cycles, Nibiru's orbit created havoc on the sun and earth. Nibiru is also called the Destroyer in the Kolbrin, an ancient gospel found in Scotland that was omitted from the biblical text, much like the Dead Sea Scrolls were. It reads, "Men forgot the days of the Destroyer. Only the wise know where it went, and that it shall return at the appointed time." The Destroyer, its color bright, fierce, and ever-changing, was an unstable appearance, a fierce body of flames. Though stating that Nibiru usually passes without causing harm, the tablets describe one cataclysmic event, which occurred when Nibiru neared Earth. It says first, black spots appeared on the sun's surface, the Earth's magnetic field became weaker, the temperatures rose, and the ice caps began melting. This event, we call the deluge, groaning with pain, were nights before the calamity struck. In the heavens, Nibiru as a glowing star was seen. According to the tablets, Enlil saw the oncoming disasters as an opportunity to rid the planet of humans that he deemed unworthy. He returned to Nibiru, but many Anunnaki chose to stay and witness the flooding and destruction on the planet from their celestial boats which circled the Earth. the earth began to shake by a force before unknown. It was agitated. In the glow of dawn, a black cloud arose from the horizon. Then the sound of a rolling thunder boomed, and lightning lit the skies. On that day, on that unforgettable day, the deluge with a roar began. At that point, the South Pole colossal ice sheets collided and fell into the ocean. This would have created tsunamis everywhere, traveling north to the gold mines in Southeast Africa. The tidal wave continued north until it reached and submerged the city of Eden, one of the first Anunnaki settlements on Earth, now located somewhere at the bottom of today's Persian Gulf. Witnessing the cataclysm, Enki, who felt sympathy for his creations, instructed his chosen ones to build boats. Susudra, Noah, and his family were among these few humans. A great storm with heavy rains started. The tidal wave swept the earth for 7 days until it finally stopped. But the heavy rains continued for 40 more days and nights. The story of the deluge is recorded in almost every civilization on our planet. Core ice samples taken from Greenland and Antarctica illustrate that the sea levels were 425 feet lower than today at the height of the last ice age. And more importantly, there is a clear indication of a rapid sea rise. After the deluge, the reconstruction of a new spaceport began. Enlil from the skies of distances took measures. Indeed, the pyramids are now considered much older than initially determined, and many other ancient monuments are aligned to the stars. When the Anunnaki finally left Earth, their influence had reached every corner of the world, from Mesopotamia to India to South America. Before they left, they gifted humanity the Sumerian civilization, which was inexplicably advanced for its time, having made sort of a sudden appearance as a mature and highly organized culture that came out of nowhere. The Anunnaki taught the Sumerians their way of life and established monarchs. Here's where it gets interesting. The kings would act as their emissaries on Earth and rule the people according to ancient principles. Unbeknownst to man, royal bloodlines were genetically manipulated by the Anunnaki. This would, in turn, explain the strong aversion of nobility to interclass breeding. Some speculate that the Anunnaki have deceptively managed to control the Earth through this selective breeding of aristocracy for centuries. Millennia. Others assume that, as the tablets indicate, Nibiru may once again come close to our planet, and then the Anunnaki will return and restore rule over the slave race they created. This would explain the secrecy around the Sumerian recorded history. Either way, 3,600 years approaches a new cycle. If you found this video thought-provoking, remember to like, subscribe, and join our community of curious minds.